It took 2 games for preseason trade to blow up in the Cowboys' face. Jerry Jones appeared on 105.3, The Fan in Dallas on Tuesday, and revealed he didn't know that the rival Eagles lost on Monday night. The result means the Dallas Cowboys didn't lose any ground in the NFC East, even though they were thrashed at home by the Saints. It would appear that Jones is late to come around on a lot of things, most notably, the biggest warts on the Cowboys roster. Some major offseason mistakes were glaring in Sunday's loss, including not signing a starting caliber running back. Having J.K. Dobbins would be pretty nice right about now. The Cowboys also regret trusting their young receivers instead of drafting, signing, or trading for a dependable WR3. Jones' biggest mistake, though, was waiting until August to address the interior defensive line. Though Motzie Smith is improved, Dallas lost starting NT Jonathan Hankins and didn't find his replacement until it acquired vet Jordan Phillips from the Giants. The team also signed 35-year-old Linval Joseph. Both players were a disaster against the Saints. While Joseph's film was arguably worse than Phillips, the latter had a boneheaded sequence on the Saints' first drive out of halftime that was the nail in Dallas' coffin. Watch Phillips choose to turn around and attack New Orleans right tackle instead of pursuing Derek Carr. Cowboys star CeeDee Lamb out of practice with ankle injury. Dallas Cowboys star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb didn't practice with the team Wednesday due to an ankle injury, the team announced in their injury report. Specifics on his ankle injury are not known. Lamb was one of several key Cowboys players held out of practice Wednesday, too, along with defensive tackle Motzie Smith and cornerback Trayvon Diggs. According to ESPN's Todd Archer, the Cowboys expect both Lamb and Diggs to be available for Sunday's game against the Baltimore Ravens. Smith's status for that matchup is unknown. No real concern about CeeDee Lamb, ankle, and Trayvon Diggs, foot. Regarding their availability for Sunday, after sitting out of Wednesday's practice, according to multiple sources. It's unclear when or how Lamb injured his ankle, or how severe the injury is. The 25-year-old, who struck a new 4-year, $136 million extension with the Cowboys after holding out during training camp, had 4 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown in their 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. He was targeted 7 times in that loss, and all 4 of his catches came in the first half. Diggs was held out of practice on Wednesday due to a foot injury, though specifics were unavailable. Diggs, who returned this season from a torn ACL he sustained early last year, had 5 total tackles in Sunday's loss. Smith was seen walking off the practice field early on Wednesday with a back injury, which could be another blow to an already depleted defensive line. The Cowboys placed defensive tackle Jordan Phillips on injured reserve Wednesday. Phillips first sustained a wrist injury last season while playing against the Cowboys when he was with the Buffalo Bills, which led to surgery. It's unknown if he will need surgery again this fall, but he will be out for at least 4 games. The Cowboys will host the Ravens on Sunday afternoon. Baltimore, after falling to the Las Vegas Raiders in what was a second straight major survivor pool upset, is attempting to avoid what would be just the second 0-3 start in franchise history. Cowboys' Jordan Phillips trade looks like a disaster after 2 games. It's up for debate if Phillips would have rattled Carr's cage. He had a lot of ground to make up for a 330-pound nose tackle. However, the fact he didn't even try to make a play and instead chose to tackle an already grounded lineman is pathetic. It's not tough. It's hilarious for all of the wrong reasons. The Cowboys' defense fell for the play action, a theme from the game, so Carr had a clean pocket. Foster Moreau was also wide open downfield for an easy touchdown. But if Phillips didn't think twice about rushing Carr, he would have at least forced the QB to rush the throw. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. Maybe it does. That's not the point. Luckily, the play was negated by an ineligible man downfield penalty, but the Saints regrouped and scored a TD 7 plays later to extend their lead to 41-19 thanks to a Jordan Lewis pass interference on 3RD and 9 that set up 1st and goal. Mike McCarthy said that he didn't think the problem on defense was effort. While Phillips knocked over the Saints OT, it qualified as 0 effort because he gave up on the play. It's made even worse being that Phillips got worked in the trenches all game and hung Dallas linebackers out to try. It's only 2 games, but the Phillips trade looks like a disaster. That's the consequence of waiting until August to address a huge need. Cowboys make shocking reunion after struggling defender goes on IR. It's only been 2 games, but the Dallas Cowboys' interior defensive line play might be worse than it was last season. That is saying something. They traded for Jordan Phillips and signed Linval Joseph in the span of a week after training camp, and neither player has colored themselves in glory. That's as generous as we can put it. The Cowboys clearly missed Jonathan Hankins, who was serviceable, if not unspectacular, at the nose tackle position. Motzie Smith, who hasn't even made a tackle in 2 games, has far and away been Mike Zimmer's best interior defender. While Joseph played horribly against the Saints, Phillips may have already worn out his welcome in Dallas after a childish sequence this past Sunday where he chose to tackle an already fallen Saints offensive lineman instead of pursuing Derek Carr on a negated touchdown. It could be a while before Cowboys fans see Phillips take the field again. He was placed on injured reserve Wednesday with a wrist injury, which knocks him out a minimum of 4 games. In a corresponding move, Dallas signed old friend Carlos Watkins off the Commanders' practice squad. Cowboys news: Dallas signs Carlos Watkins, places Jordan Phillips on IR. The Cowboys have had bad luck with adding aging defensive tackles. While Hankins was serviceable after he came over via trade, he missed time due to injury in both seasons. Being that Phillips was playing poorly before the injury and will now miss at least 4 games, you have to wonder if he'll be back at all. This makes the preseason trade look even worse. Since Phillips was on the 46-man roster for 2 games, the Cowboys officially gave up their 2026 6th-round pick to the Giants. They will receive New York's 7th-round pick in 2026. Among interior defenders who have played at least 30 snaps, Phillips' 29.6 player grade is the second worst at the position per Pro Football Focus. Signing Watkins is really just addition by subtraction. A former 4th-round pick of the Texans, Watkins spent the 2021 and 2022 seasons with Dallas. He made 27 appearances, including 18 starts, 14 coming in 2021, and tallied 1 sack, 7 tackles for loss, 11 pressures, and 37 defensive stops. Watkins failed to make the Commanders and Rams' 53-man rosters this summer. He's a below-average interior defender, but he cannot be any worse than what the Cowboys have trotted out there so far this season.